Hey there, welcome back. My name is Katie and this is Louisiana Cooking and Living if you're new to my channel. And we are in the middle of giving you some Valentine's Day dinner dessert ideas. Today we're going to be doing a dessert, and I kind of explained in the previous video, if you watched that one, we cooked chicken parmesan together. And with the way things are these days, I think people are staying home more and not going out to eat as much, and so I'm kind of giving you some little suggestions and tutorial, I guess, or cook along with me on dinner ideas and dessert ideas for Valentine's Day, so that you can cook for your husband, wife, family, whoever it is you're cooking for. And so tonight we are doing cheesecake. We're gonna be doing a raspberry flavored swirl cheesecake. So we're gonna go ahead and get this started because this is it's not a difficult process, it's just a long process. There's a lot of cooling, waiting times. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the crust, and I've already measured out, and let me just say, I am gonna link the cheesecake recipe in the description box. I have found somebody on Pinterest. Her page is called Butternut Bakery, and I've really liked a few of her recipes that I've tried. And we're basing this off of her recipe, and I'm doing a few little changes, like she calls for cinnamon in the crust. We're not putting cinnamon. This is just a New York style cheesecake. We're gonna be adding the raspberries. We're gonna be doing a few little different things, but she calls for 2 cups or 280 grams of graham cracker crumbs. So what I've done is I've already put some graham crackers in the food processor to make crumbs, and most of it's kind of fine, but some of it is these bigger chunks like this. My family likes to have the different texture in the crust, so it's kind of a crispier crust if you have these bigger chunks. So this is what we're going to work with, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So what I have done is this is a 9-inch cheesecake or springform pan. I have put a layer of parchment in between the base and the ring itself, and then I have taken strips of parchment and lined the inside. So this is our prepared pan here. This is our 280 grams of graham cracker crumbs, and I have 1/3 cup of sugar here. I'm just going to dump in. We're going to add some salt, anywhere from 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then I have 1/2 cup of butter here. I'm going to go ahead and kind of mix this together a little bit. My bowl may be a little overflowing. And this is our crust. I have my oven preheating to 350 degrees. So I'll mix my butter in. It's melted butter. It's 1/2 cup. I'm losing some of my crumbs here. All right, she says to mix it till it looks like coarse sand. Of course, it's just making sure everything's fully incorporated. The butter is coating all the crumbs. If you leave your graham crackers in big chunks like this, it's not going to necessarily look like coarse sand. So that's why I say it that way. And all that butter. Just this smells so good. I love the crust. All right, I think we're fully incorporated. Get that off and make sure that's mixed in. So all we're going to do now is just dump this into our pan. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this is a 9-inch springform pan, so this is what this crust fits into. And what we're going to do is go ahead and kind of move this around and then up the sides. And I like to use my measuring cup. All right, we got that all pressed in our pan. And she says we're going to bake this for 10 minutes just to let it get set. So we're gonna get this in the oven and then we're gonna get everything ready to make the filling. All right, so our crust has come out of the oven. It is cooling. Our next step in here tells us to get a 13x9 baking dish, put water in there, and then you're gonna put that in the oven to preheat with your oven. One of the tips or tricks or techniques in order to keep your cheesecake from cracking is to have a very humid baking environment. So that's what we were gonna do with the water. We're gonna put that in the oven. And we also lowered our temperature in the oven to 305 degrees. So we have our water in the oven at 305, crust is cooling. Our next thing we did is I took a jar of raspberry preserves that I had made a few weeks ago. If you wanna check that out and make your own. If not, no big deal, you buy whatever preserves you want. You could do raspberry, you could do strawberry, if you're wanting the red. But if you're doing this just to make a cheesecake, you could pick whatever color or kind of preserves you want. I did put them on the stove on very low just to warm it up, to soften it. And I'm running it through a strainer to get the seeds out because preserves does have the seeds in them, so that I can get a raspberry sauce here. So we're gonna let this drip while we move on to our filling. In this bowl, I have 4 eggs and 1 egg yolk. And we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of vanilla, just some homemade vanilla I made. Usually I don't measure, but I have a measuring spoon out, so I'll just go ahead and measure while we're here. If you see the little black dot, says the vanilla bean caviar. And we're just gonna take our little fork here and just give this a little whisk. All right, our next step is going to be with our paddle attachment on a stand mixer. If you don't have a stand mixer, you can use just a beater, but she does recommend using the stand mixer because we are using 4 very softened bricks of cream cheese. Make sure they're at room temperature, make sure your eggs are at room temperature. So let me grab my cream cheese real quick. So we're going to put our cream cheese. We're gonna mix this on low speed until it is smooth. So I'm gonna get all these in here and then we'll mix them up. All right, number 4. We're gonna give this a blend on here until they're light and whipped. good whipped. We're going to add 1.5 cups of sugar. And then we're going to be adding 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. I've showed this before. This is, it's not organic, but it is non-GMO. You can find corn products that are non-GMO. Sometimes you just have to look. Not all stores will carry them necessarily. All right, so 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. We're gonna give this a mix. All right, it says in the lowest setting, we're going to slowly pour this in. Let me get something to set my spatula on. All right, so we're gonna turn this on low. Let me scrape this down. Give another little scrape down real quick before we add more. Make sure all this is getting incorporated. Alright, looks like we're pretty well incorporated. So we'll just give it a few last blends with our spatula. Sometimes you get all this up the paddle attachment and it doesn't really mix in. So we will give it a few last stirs while we fold in 1 cup of room temperature sour cream. Our sour cream. And folding means you're going from the bottom to the top. Bottom to the top. You don't want to be vigorous because we have incorporated a little bit of air in this, so you don't want it to deflate. You might need to break up your sour cream a little bit. Mine wasn't quite room temperature. Make sure you're scraping the bottom in case there's anything down there that's not been incorporated. All right, try and get my work surface a little better. We have our crust, we have our filling. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Fold in the sour cream, pour the batter into the pan once the crust is cooled, and tap the pan against your counter a couple of times to bring out any air bubbles that may have been caught in there. Place the cheesecake on the middle rack and carefully pour the boiling water. Well, we've heated our water with our oven. Bake for 1 hour and 40 minutes. All right. We'll pour this in. All right, so you can just go ahead and bake this like it is, and then put the raspberry sauce, strawberry sauce, whatever sauce you're gonna make on top after it's baked. So what we're gonna do though, since this is Valentine's Day and we're trying to make this a little special, we're gonna kind of make a design with our sauce. You could even just drizzle it and marble it in. That's something you could do. We'll make sure we have all the liquid out. Make sure you do scrape off the back side of your strainer because a lot of it likes to collect back here. I'm gonna have to find out if I think my chickens can eat my raspberry seeds, so I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna get me a clean. And what we're gonna do is put a little circle. I'm gonna go all the way around. All right, I'm not sure if we're gonna do a second row. Let's see what this looks like. So you can use a chopstick. I don't have one. I just have one of these little tools that comes with like a nutcracker. So I'm just gonna use this. And we're gonna go through our circles and make them into hearts. Look at that. I think I'm gonna leave it just like that. I don't think I'm gonna do another row in there. All right, I think I like that. All right, we're gonna get this in the oven and we're gonna bake it, like I said, for an hour and 40 minutes. It will puff up in the oven. That's why we have our parchment paper a little higher on the sides than the springform pan. So I'm gonna get this in the oven and we'll be back whenever well, let me just go ahead and tell you, once we bake it for an hour and 40 minutes, it's gonna puff up, and then we're gonna turn the oven off and we'll open the door of the oven and leave this in the oven with the oven off for an hour. We want it to cool off very gently to prevent cracking. So that's what we're gonna do. Y'all, the cheesecake is ready. So yesterday evening, I let it cool in the oven like I told you for an hour. It bakes for an hour and 40 minutes. You turn the oven off, leave it in the oven for an hour. Took it out, put it on the counter, and let it just come to room temperature. And then I put it in the fridge overnight because you serve your cheesecake cold. So it's the next day now, and we are gonna cut into this cheesecake. I reserved the rest of the raspberry sauce to serve on our plate. And I'll just show you everything. So I found this pretty teal blue pedestal. We got this at the thrift store, y'all. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna serve it on this. We're gonna take the ring off. I'm gonna peel our parchments off. Look how tall this cheesecake came out. Let me see, I might get a spatula to get the cheesecake off of this. Ooh, y'all. There we go. Alrighty. We'll clean up our edges. Don't know if you can see the hearts in the top of our cheesecake. All right, we're gonna cut into this and we're gonna serve it. Got this pretty little plate looking platter thing at Home Goods yesterday. We're gonna pour a little bit of our sauce on our plate. I just took the rest of that and I put it in the fridge in this little pitcher, and then I just now heated it up in the microwave for about 30 seconds just to loosen it. So I have that on our plate. Oh, the raspberry smells so good, y'all. All the different smells and flavors. ahead and cut all the way through the crust, y'all. I don't want to leave my crust behind. That is the best part. How tall that is. We're gonna give this a little taste test. All right, let's give this a taste test. I am gonna taste it back by the crust piece because that is my favorite part, y'all. It is so tall, it is so soft. A little bit of this raspberry sauce. Mmm. That crust is so buttery, so yummy. The sauce is like sweet but yet tangy. The cheesecake is so creamy and so moist. It didn't crack, y'all, with this technique. I just hope y'all give this a try. Not for Thanksgiving, if not for Valentine's, at some point when you have time to give it a try. It's not hard, it's just the time it takes. That is so good, y'all. So our next dessert is going to be a chocolate one. I won't spoil what it is. So we had like the red fruit one here, and the next one we'll do is a chocolate one. So I hope you hit subscribe so you can follow along. And if you checked out the chicken parmesan, and then we're going to do a seafoody dish this next time, a Louisiana favorite. We're going to do that coming up for our other Valentine's dinner. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.